Hello and welcome to something brand spanking new. I am your host, Jason JRock Houston. Okay, folks, so you're probably wondering what is going on. Most of you know me, of course, from as the face and voice, of course, from JRock's of Babylon. Well, I am so excited to announce that next weekend we're going to record episode number one of a great new show we're going to be doing called Make Some Noise. As you can see in the background, beautiful logo I designed here, and man, it is going to be a great show. So I thought I'd do a little promo here today to talk about the new show, let you guys know what's coming up. Okay, now episode number one is going to be recorded next Saturday. Yes, January 24th. Um, and we're going to be doing it 12 p.m. sharp. Okay, we. You notice I say we. Now, that is not the collective we as I usually do, like referring to shows and that on JRock's Babylon. Okay, the we here is me and my good friend, singer, guitarist, songwriter, Jammie Bosstel. Now, Jammie is a guy I've had the pleasure and opportunity to interview several times over years. And from the very first time I interviewed Jammie, not only did was I able to recognize his huge talent as a singer, songwriter, and guitar player. Like I said, in fact, any of you don't know, after you watch this, I really highly recommend you go on Facebook. Subscribe to his Facebook page now. Jammie Bosstel has got his own page. He's also got the band Bosstel. He comes from another band, Praise the Fallen. So Jammie is just a super huge talent music wise. I mean, before I even get it talking about the new show, I want to talk all about Jammie Bosstel, a huge talent in his own right. So again, Praise the Fallen, Bosstel. These are some of the bands that I know him from, but I urge you guys to go check out, and you'll see, like I'm saying, what a huge talent Jammie is. He's probably, I dare say, he's one of the rock world's best kept secrets. Super talented guy. He really should be bigger than he is. But you know what? In many ways, Jammie Bosstel is an artist that really is on the rise. I mean, he's played shows with some national acts such as LA Guns. So this is a guy that's really on the rise. And I got to tell you, folks, like I said, Jammie Bosstel, not only is he an artist on the rise, he's a guy that's kind of been on my radar for the last several years. And I will say this, besides the huge talent that he is, as far as writing songs, and performing music, he is just a super nice guy. And I got to tell you, folks, like I said, Jammie's been on my radar for a few years now. And I love any opportunity I ever get to interview him, talk to him, because again, he's just a super friendly guy. I love to expose his talent, and talk about whatever he's working on at the time. But the last interview we did was for his latest solo album, and you can go on JRock's Babylon and check that out. But I'm going to kind of also let Kat have a bag, and this is something that never told Jammie, and I never revealed to until now. Okay. When I previously hosted a show called the This Is Metal show. The original co-host was Joe Lawson. Now, Joe was a big part of rolling out the This Is Metal show. He was a big part in helping create and come up with the idea for the show. And again, Joe Lawson was really great at what he did. And it was a very sad time when Joe announced to me a few years, well, going back 2 years now, probably about 2.5, closer to 3 years now, when he informed me that he was no longer able to do the This Is Metal show. Okay, and so when something like that happens, you have a choice to make. Do we quit doing the show, or do we carry on with a new host? And again, not that I needed Joe Lawson's permission or anything, but I spoke to him about it, about my thoughts about wanting to carry on with the show. And he was all for that. He was all on board. And honestly, I didn't need Joe's permission, but it was nice to know that he kind of had the same thought process as I did. And so, again, when Joe Lawson left the This Is Metal show, we had just basically started to transition from being a radio podcast type of show to a video show. And I had no idea at the time that we would go on to become, even bigger and badder than ever. But then the search for a new host began. And so I had about three people in mind, okay, so right off the top of my head now. First person I contacted, and this is something I have revealed, this part of the story. First person I contacted was Sean Peck, but, because when I think of metal, Sean Peck is very much like Rob Halford, Ronnie James Dio, Ozzy. He's one of the first guys I think of as far as, a great singer and that songwriter as far as when I think of metal. And so I thought he'd be a perfect co-host, but I didn't know if he'd be able to do it or not. So he, of course, thanked me, and he kind of, he kind of told me what I had already kind of assumed because of his many projects and his hectic schedule. He just could not commit to doing a show like that. But he thanked me for the offer. Okay, so then it was time to move on to my next candidate, Tom Collier, who, of course, as you all know, ended up getting the gig as the new co-host on the This Is Metal show. And I'm so happy Tom agreed to come on board. Tom, again, very much like Jammie Bosstel, I'd interviewed him several times over years. I always found Tom to be a super nice, friendly, down-to-earth guy. And choosing Tom Collier as my new co-host on the This Is Metal show, it proved to me that my instinct about doing so was so right. I mean, Tom and I had a great chemistry from the get-go. And here's the thing, folks. You just know when it works, and it worked. And the This Is Metal show would still be going on right now. Not so much because of me and Tom's decision, but the guy who owned the channel, Chaotic Risk, where the show was on, him and I had a parting of ways. And then Tom, because of the success of Fire Rock Music Group, he had to walk away from the show. And again, I was at a point where I thought, okay, well, we need to search out for a new replacement co-host. But then again, the guy who owned Chaotic Risk, he told me pretty much, well, hey, Jason, I don't know if I want to continue doing This Is Metal. I don't like the thought that every 2 years we have to, the co-host walks away and we have to look for a new co-host. So that ultimately was the decision that was made, and that was part of the reasons I decided to walk away from Chaotic Risk, as I said, and that's what led to the launching of JRock's Babylon, which takes us to current day. Now, the part of the story that has not been revealed up until this point is that Jammie Bosstel was my third and final kind of top choice as far as asking him to be the new co-host of the This Is Metal show. Unfortunately for Jammie, it never got to that point of even reaching out to him, because when I asked my good friend Tom Collier to become a new co-host, he jumped at the opportunity. He said yes. And so the search was over. So now that I'm doing, JRock's Babylon, which was launched August 2nd, 2025, and of course, JRock's Babylon is my own site. I can do whatever the hell I want. Don't need to get permission from anybody. But I very much miss doing the This Is Metal show. It's a show I very much enjoy doing. But, all good things, as they say, eventually come to an end. And I don't know, maybe the time was right, because could have got a great new host, but maybe it would not have been a successful show without Tom Collier. I do not know that. Maybe, the show ran its course. I don't know that it would have been as much fun doing it without Tom. I just don't know. So maybe, things happen for a reason. And so I was thinking, wanting to do a show similar to This Is Metal, and so that's where Make Some Noise came into the picture. I immediately thought, okay, I want to do something similar to that, but the show is going to be a very different animal. It's going to be it's going to have a personality of all its own, and so right away, okay, I will tell you, folks, I reached out to one other person, and they told me they could not do it. So I thought, okay, this is the chance. Okay, since Jammie didn't get the opportunity to become a new co-host on the This Is Metal show, something tells me he's the guy to do this with. So I I then reached out to Jammie via Facebook, and I told Jammie I got this idea for a new show. I'm looking for a co-host, Jammie. I want to know if you'd be interested in doing it. He messaged me back, "Hey man, I'm so honored. I would love to do something like that." And so this is where we're at. And funny enough is right before the day before I asked Jammie to do the new show with me, and I got the word that he wanted to do it. I had come up with the name "Make Some Noise." Okay, again, make some noise. It could very much very fitting for a metal type of show. Now we're going to have guests come on that we interview. We've already got our first guest booked. Okay, and I will let that cat out of the bag. Our very first guest is going to be Ronnie Monroe. Many people know Ronnie from being a successful solo artist. He was briefly with Vicious Rumors, Lillian Axe. He's got a lot of other stuff he's working on, and so we're gonna have Ronnie come on and talk about his career to date and what he's working on now. So that'll be a lot of fun. I've had the opportunity to interview Ronnie several times over years. Always a super nice guy, and anybody knows anything about Ronnie Monroe, he's been through quite a bit in his own personal life, not to mention his professional career. So I'm very interested in talking to Ronnie and see, because the last time I talked to Ronnie was a few years ago when he was in Vicious Rumors. And at the time, there was talk that he was going to do an album with them. And I'd be interested to kind of find out why that didn't, happen. But, Vicious Rumors is one of those bands, they go through ton of singers. And so it wasn't a total surprise, but I'd love to hear from Ronnie's perspective what happened with Vicious Rumors and have him bring us up to date on what he's doing now. And so I'm really looking forward to doing the show with Jammie and seeing what it's like. I know it's his first time doing a podcast type show. And, immediately I sent Jammie a copy of the logo here, and because he'd asked me if I could do that. And he put out a Facebook announcement announcing the new show to people right away. And so I appreciate his his willingness and his eagerness about the new show to do that. So again, this little promo I'm doing is just a further kind of way to promote the new show. And for anybody interested, like I said, episode number 1 is going to be recorded next Saturday, the 24th of January, and the show will premiere Tuesday, the 27th of January. So be on the lookout for this. And Jammie, Bosstel, and I are getting ready to make some noise. Thanks, guys. We already got the guest booked for episode number 2. You're going to have to wait and tune in to episode 2 when it premieres. Thanks, everybody, and I hope I've given you something to get excited about, because we're going to make some noise.